Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for tuning into your program. This is your community service program hosted by yours truly, Victor Trevino. Got a great show for you tonight. I'm very honored to have these very, very special guests, talking about social media and how great libraries are. So we got the experts here that are going to share with us, their expertise. So stay tuned. But can you believe it's already December the 10th? And I hope your team won during all these holidays. Imagine there's 7 college teams that are making it to a bowl game. I don't know if that's history being made already, but congratulations to all of them. Whether it's Baylor, Rice, U of H. I don't know if TSU also was included in there. I'm not sure, but to all those colleges, congratulations. Good luck to you in representing the great state of Texas. But December the 10th, it's around the corner. Are you ready for the holidays? I've already had Hanukkah, so I hope you had a happy Hanukkah. Looking forward to a Feliz Navidad, and right after that, we got Kwanzaa to celebrate, and then, a Happy New Year. Some beautiful celebrations during this beautiful month of December. At this time, my reporter on the street is telling me we got breaking news, so let's go to breaking news at this time.
Here at Desvala, we have a brand new playground and 4 new courtyards thanks to Lowe's, Rebuilding Together, and Carter's Kids. Nearly 200 volunteers from all these groups spent 2 days and $60,000 sprucing up our school. We are so thankful for all their hard work, and we love our new and improved playground and beautiful courtyards.
We're so excited about our new playground. Our kids have been wanting a new one to be able to go out there and play. Our kids use this every single day. It was so neat to be able to see them use it for the very first time and play around and be able to exercise and be healthy. One of the neatest things that we find out about is that our kids did not have swings. So on the playground that we had there before, there were no swings. And the thing that they were the most excited about is to be able to use swings for the very first time. So it's been great for our kids.
Congratulations to Desvala Elementary School and their partnership with the business community. Breaking news on the Victor Trevino Show is always talking about great people doing great things. And, what a better way to say thank you to these great partners with HISD, Lowe's, Rebuilding Together, and Carter's Kids, and all the 200 volunteers that came together to build that new playground over $60,000 worth that was given to a great school. De Zavala, that whole neighborhood is very historical, ladies and gentlemen. It used to be called the city of Magnolia, and then was annexed by Houston back in the early 1900s. De Zavala Elementary School is one of the first, if not the first, elementary school to have a Hispanic name here in the Houston area. So we salute Lowe's, the partners with HISD, De Zavala Elementary, Carter's Kids. Congratulations for making that happen to a very historical, rich, beautiful community. The kids are going to enjoy every bit of it. So thank y'all. Keep up the good work. And like I've told you, ladies and gentlemen, breaking news on the Victor Trevino Show is always about great people doing great things. Not because we shy away from the challenging news, but that's why it's very important also our partnership with Crime Stoppers. So let's go to our crime of the week at this time.
Crime Stoppers and Constable Trevino need your help in identifying this unidentified robbery suspect responsible for a robbery at a Harris County recycling center. On November 8th of 2013 at approximately 9:30 a.m., this unidentified suspect approached a male victim in the parking lot of a recycling business located on the 10,300 block of Antoine in Harris County, Texas. The suspect ordered the victim into the back office of the business. There, the contents of the safe were emptied, and the suspect stole the victim's car keys, fleeing the scene in his 2003 Dodge pickup truck. Take a look at this video. The suspect is described as a Hispanic male in his early 30s, standing approximately 5 foot 7 inches tall, weighing between 180 and 190 pounds, with black hair and a black mustache. At the time of the offense, the suspect was wearing a black baseball cap, black sunglasses, and a black windbreaker with police across the back. If you know the identity of this police impersonator, call Crime Stoppers at 713-222-TIPS. The suspect is described as a Hispanic male in his early 30s, standing approximately 5 foot 7 inches tall, weighing between 180 and 190 pounds, with black hair and a black mustache. At the time of the offense, the suspect was wearing a black baseball cap, black sunglasses, and a black windbreaker with police across the back. If you know the identity of this police impersonator, call Crime Stoppers at 713-222-TIPS. You can also download the Crime Stoppers of Houston mobile application, Houston Crime Stoppers, in the App Store, the Google Play Store, and the BlackBerry app world. All callers remain anonymous and are eligible for up to $5,000 in a cash reward.
Again, if you have any information on the crime of the week, please call Crime Stoppers. You can get up to $5,000 reward. But I also want to start off by thanking you because of your calls. You've made our Crime Stoppers here in Houston, Harris County, the #1 in the world. We appreciate your support. And it's a win-win situation. You see, when you call, your name is never mentioned. They give you a code. That's the only way that you communicate is through that code. And all we want is for this crime, for example, on November the 8th, 2013, 10,300 block of Antoine, where it was an aggravated robbery. It happened 9:30 in the morning, and the location again was 10,300 block of Antoine. Suspect described as a Hispanic male in his early 30s, wearing, a jacket that had police written on the back. So if you have any information, call Crime Stoppers. We appreciate your support. And now to introduce my very special guest, I want to thank you and what an honor to have all of you here. Sandra Fernandez with the Houston Library, Public Information Officer. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for inviting me.
And we have Brother Jesse Mohammed, your blogger, a social media strategist, teacher, and mostly geared toward children, I hear.
Yes, sir, absolutely. And I'm honored to be here. Thank you.
Thank you for being here. And also Crystal Washington, social media expert, author. You can look her up at crystalwashington.com.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
I haven't met many authors, and I don't think I've ever had one of the shows, so I'm very honored to have you here.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. What kind of books do you write?
Well, I've only written one book. It's called The Social Media Why, and really it focuses on how people can use social media practically for business. So not connecting with family, not doing funny stuff, but literally how do you use it to get a job, grow a business, and just do practical application things.
Well, we'll be hearing more from you in just a second. Brother Mohammed, is that all right if I say Brother Mohammed?
Yes, sir, absolutely.
What do you mean that you're teaching towards kids about the social media? Tell me about that.
Well, what I have realized is that out of the many speakers around the country, the market that seems to always be overlooked is our young people. So when I'm out speaking, I focus on schools, whether it's middle school, sometimes elementary, high schools, and even up to college. Because our young people are being bombarded with so much madness that they need someone to come in and show them how to filter through the madness so they can see their purpose for utilizing these different tools.
Tell me some of the madness.
Well, some of the matters is like things like terminology where things go viral, where it's reshared so many times, and it's always negativity, where there may be a fight or buffoonery or foolishness. So I showed these children how we can take positive images to combat and counter these images, and also how to utilize these tools to get a job, to make some income for themselves while they're in high school, show them how they can build websites, how they can build their own blogs and make money. So I teach them how to take these tools that seem so negative in the public, but show them that it really can be used positive based upon the motive.
What inspired you to do that?
Well, it inspired me based upon what I was raised. You know, my mother and my grandmother and even my family always taught me about giving back. So I have been blessed with a certain level of success, so I'm obligated to do such. But also, hey, I didn't grow up on, on the rosy side. I grew up in the hard knocks of Northeast Houston, where I grew up rough, so I can relate to them, even though I'm wearing this suit and bow tie. So therefore, I feel as a speaker, I know how to connect with them because I keep it real with them, but also I show them that you can make it because I did.
Well, congratulations. We're going to hear more from you also in just a second.
Thank you.
Sandra Fernandez, how long you been with the Houston Library?
I've been there 11 years.
Congratulations. And as a PIO, we're talking about promoting the libraries.
Yes. Well, social media has become one of the most important tools that we use. It's great because it allows us to connect directly with our customers and our supporters instead of having to go through media or anything else.
Do y'all still give amnesty if someone hasn't turned a book in a long time?
Well, it's my understanding the library's never done that, quite honestly.
They don't give amnesty?
No, sir.
Oh, my goodness.
We do, however, work and do payment plans with people. So you can come in, and if you actually owe the library money, come in and talk to a librarian, and they will talk to them about how much you owe and figure out a payment plan so that they can get that paid down.
And I didn't mean to throw you off because we're, you know, it's both serious. The fact that if you
Yes.
do have a book, it belongs to the library, work it out with them. Don't be afraid, you know, because that's the biggest factor that keeps us from going back, the fear. There's nothing to fear. They'll work with you. The public library
Yes, we will.
is a very humanitarian institution.
Well, our goal is always to work with a customer so we can get them in good standing again and have them start borrowing materials again so they become active users of the library.
So can you do that now through the social media?
Well, no, because we actually require that you come in and you prove that you are who you say you are so that we can take a look at your account. We're not going to give account information to people unless we've verified that they're the account owners. We actually have to see an ID when you come in to talk particulars about your account. However, if you have received a bill from us, please follow the instructions of the bill.
For you at home, talking about the social media, it's kind of revolutionized our era. So I just want to make sure that we brought some experts here that can really get to the bottom and tell us the hardcore. Yours truly is kind of old-fashioned. You know, I'm still looking for the phones where you put your finger in there and say CA and WA. These young people here next to me don't know what I'm talking about, but WA was Walnut, CA was Capitol, and you lived in those kind of areas. I don't know if we had zip codes at that time, but the computers was something you saw in a futuristic movie. You didn't see it on Leave It to Beaver or I Love Lucy, you know. So we want to bring you up to date because this is the time we're in. And whether we're parents or grandparents, we need to be informed. We cannot use the excuse that, well, I don't deal with that. I don't deal with that. That is an excuse that is unacceptable. If we're going to be there, not just for our family, but for our community. You know, you always hear on our show, what can we do to continue to improve the quality of life? What can we do together? You saw the breaking news about these companies coming to help the elementary school and give them a playground. That's how you continue to improve the quality of life. The experts are going to tell us what it is we need to know. I got my first phone, is it called an iPhone? The ones that have everything on it.
Is it a smartphone?
Yes, sir.
Well, it may be smart. It's just that its owner is still catching up. Yours truly, I'm still working on that. But, I never operated one of those phones. And my wife passed on hers because she wanted an update.
Yes.
So I got this one, and then I got a new one, and it's called the smartphone, the iPhone.
It's probably an iPhone, which is a smartphone.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm on Facebook now.
Oh.
Man.
I'm very cautious because I'm scared, but because one time I sent a message and I thought it was only going to some one person, and all these people got it, and they started responding, and giving me their opinions, and I said, oh my God, what did I do? But so these are things we have to know.
Right.
But I want the public to hear from you all about the pros and cons. This is the era we're in. But what do we need to do as a community, especially those of us that are old school, that still want to be in tune with our, with our grandkids and, all what they're involved in?
Right. I would say the first thing is you can't ignore it. You can't ignore social media. If you are a parent or grandparent, you need to know what's there because your kids have access to it. But here's the other thing. Talking about all the negatives, which I'm sure we'll hit on some of those shortly, but a lot of opportunities exist on social media. When we look at social networks like LinkedIn, they've pretty much killed other job search engine sites. So if you want to be found
Tell us what's LinkedIn?
Well, LinkedIn is the #1 professional social network. So people aren't there to play. There's no, no games on there going on. It's only about getting your professional resume up there and building yourself, under your expertise as your profession, under your profession. But what's interesting is a lot of headhunters go there and they search out people using this site. And so sometimes we can actually be found on social media by influential people. So not being there means that we're not opening ourselves up for opportunities.
Is there a reason why people should be scared of it?
Well, I think you should be
or concerned?
I think you should be cautious about anything you use, any technology. It's not just social media. Quick example. If you understand how to use a microwave correctly, you'll be strategic in how you use it. You'll get good results. But if you don't understand how a microwave works, you just know it makes things hot. If you wash your cat and try to dry it in the microwave, you're not going to have good results. And so I think we should all be careful and make sure that we have a basic understanding of how we use technology before we dive in. But social media is no more scarier than anything else in our house that could potentially kill us if we're ignorant.
Well said.
Absolutely.
Brother Muhammad, I mean, as far as you were talking about some of what goes viral on there, tell me about some of those videos that go viral.
Well, recently there was an incident right here in our city where a young girl had punched another girl in an apartment complex by the name of Sharkeisha. And this video where she knocked her out, it ended up getting on a very popular hip-hop site, and it got millions of hits and views, and it was reshared and commented. And the interesting thing about it is that the young lady who was the victim, of course, that people were making fun of her, but they were also making fun of the girl that did the punch. And so from there, when I went inside of the school to discuss it with the students, I gave them a different perspective on it. As Crystal always talks about, looking at the positive side of this. Now, the victim, who had been embarrassed, as she said, by having millions of people around the world see her get knocked out, she had the strength and courage to go back to school a couple of days later and face her peers with her head hanging up. And I asked the students that I spoke at in the classroom, I said, if you had gotten knocked out and the video had went viral, how many of y'all would have transferred from your school the next day? And all of them raised their hand. So I showed them, look, at the end of the day, even in the embarrassing moment on social media, this young person went and did interviews that went on social media to let people know that my self-esteem is high despite being embarrassed. So we have the opportunity with anything that seems negative, we can always flip it into a positive.
And it is also, just for the public to know that a lot of this videos that law enforcement or the criminal justice system can't get involved.
Yes,
But
absolutely.
it's not just law enforcement. I have teen nieces and nephews. My oldest niece is doing her college application process right now. It is very common for college recruiters to go and find out about the people who are applying, especially for scholarships, and go check out what they're tagged in, what their friends are doing, how they've been mentioned on all of these sites. So even if you've gone in and you've done everything great in your application, you've done everything great in your transcripts, they go on and they find out that you're involved in undesirable activities. That's not going to help you.
Yeah. I just wanted to make it clear also to the public that could be some legal ramifications, and so people to know that think it's a joke, they think it's funny, that they could be fouled on.
Yes.
Well, it's not just, like Sandra said, it's not just legal. I mean, legal is one of it, because we've seen many
Yes.
instances around the country, actually the world,
Right.
where people have used information on social media, law enforcement. But at the same time, as Sandra pointed out, you have universities that are checking accounts. You have people that have lost their jobs behind what they've posted on social media as well. Especially, it happens a lot with educators, but across the board. I would add to what Sandra said, though. I love how she talked about the college application process. I've been brought in by universities before to talk to their staff. What a lot of people don't realize is that as a teenager, if you think about this ahead of time, you can set up profiles that shine a very positive light on you, so that when they go to check you out and maybe some other people, you're going to actually rank above them. So as Jesse talked about earlier, Brother Jesse, you can also set yourself up to make this into a positive if you're smart going into it.
That's right. Because, you know, back in the day, you know, Mr. Trevino, I'm not as elder as others, but back in the day when you used to
Go ahead.
But you
Go
know,
ahead, say it.
when you wanted to date somebody, you would call their friend who knows a friend who knows a friend. But now the new dating strategy is Google them.
Yep.
And so now you have to ask yourself, the question is, when I Google you, what's popping up? What is it saying about you on that first page? And that says a lot. And so I have friends right now who is consulting with me on they're trying to change their Google image, you know. And it was a niece of mine who I was riding with recently, and she shared with me that a friend of hers went to court. And he had no idea that the judge was going to pull out a Facebook print out of his wall in court. And so she's recognized right then and there she has to watch herself on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
We got a call that's been patiently waiting. We'll go ahead and go to that call. All right. You're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Hi.
You're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, my name is Thomas. I just have some questions about marketing a new product, and I just wanted to know if y'all had any advice, the social media experts, on, you know, like the first steps I should take.
Well, I think it's a great question, and I'm sure our experts can answer it for you. So thank you for calling, Thomas. We'll answer over the air.
Okay. Hello?
Yes.
Oh, I wanted to tell you what the product. It's a
Oh.
poncho. It's a poncho. It's a special type of poncho that adapts to different sizes, and I'm going to call it the Picky Poncho. So I don't know if that helped, like, with ideas.
Okay. They'll answer over the air. Thank you, Thomas. Appreciate it.
Okay, thanks.
We got a creative, an artist, and what do you say? A poncho?
Yes.
Yeah. You want me to?
Go ahead,
Yeah.
please,
Okay, I
Crystal.
guess that's
Yeah.
kind of my
Yeah.
lane. You know, when it comes to marketing on social media, and I'm going to make this very concise and simple. First, you have to know what your measurable goals are. So what is he actually trying to do? How many is he trying to sell? The next thing is he has to identify who is his target market. Who is he actually trying to reach? And then the next step is choose the social networks that have those people on it. So you can actually go and look up Facebook. You can look up Twitter on Wikipedia, and it'll tell you who their demographic is. So for instance, if you're selling teenage clothes and you look at the demographics of the different social networks, you'll see a lot of teenagers are using Twitter. A lot of teenagers are using Tumblr. So he needs to know who he's trying to reach.
Tell us the difference, Tumblr and Twitter.
Tumblr's kind of like a blogging platform, sort of. Twitter's more like microblogging. So that's when you're sending a message in 140 characters or less. Very brief, very quick.
That's Twitter.
That's
Yes.
Twitter.
Okay.
So they're all a little different.
Okay. Now go ahead. I don't know if you were finished.
Oh, no, that was, I wanted to give him concise advice.
What?
The other thing, if I can just
Sure,
throw that
add.
out there, if he's interested, there is information in my book, The Social Media Why, and I made it free today on Amazon if he's interested. So he can actually go on there and get some additional information on what he can do to market
So
that.
they can go to Amazon and they'll get the information
Today for free, yes.
today.
Today for free.
Well, the other thing I was going to add to what Crystal just said was, for a product like what he's mentioning, he might want to give some serious consideration to making sure that he's doing photo-heavy things, to even on Facebook, on Instagram, or the social medias that are out there, because for something like a clothing, people will want to see what it looks like and what it looks like on different people. How's it going to look on people who look like me?
Okay, good point. And can y'all address to the public in here also the concerns about whether something on Craigslist or whether is that part of the social media?
No.
No?
Not officially. I mean, technically you could say it is, but no, people don't
Because isn't
usually.
it how do they connect? Just by Facebook or something?
Well, no. So basically, a social media is any type of website that allows for two-way conversation. So an old school website, people just post what they want you to see, and that's it. social media, people can have conversations back and forth, and you can actually see mutual connection. So that's kind of the basic definition of social media.
I see. Well, because I think the concerns was, whether people give out their information that's critical, whether it's Social Security, your driver's license, your bank account.
And that does happen on social media. We found it on the library website. You were mentioning earlier about fines and stuff. Well, people will post questions on our wall, and they will actually put private information, which we take down immediately, because they don't seem to understand that this is, in fact, anyone can see it. So what we do is we direct them to a private messaging or communication method, even if it's through Facebook itself or through an email account that we've set up. It's very important for people to learn the difference between what is private communication, what is public communication on all these different social media channels, and not to share information in a public venue or with people that they haven't verified.
Exactly, and I want to add to that is
Sure.
that, when you get on social media, especially if it's your first time, you want to set your parameters for yourself, because a lot of times some of us turn social media into an online diary. There are literally some of my friends, Mr. Trevino, that I can literally tell you every day what they do, their routine, where they're at, when they shop, and I shouldn't know all of that, and you live way in Austin, Texas. So I think that sometimes...
But tell me why you shouldn't know that.
Well, first of all, why would I need to know when you took a bath, what you ate,
Right.
Those type of things, what's the motive for that, but also it sets you up that if, go ahead.
Go ahead. Okay, you get
I was
to
going to
what
say is that, like, if I know your schedule and if I want to rob you, then
go.
I could be your Facebook friend and like your comment that you're going to that party. Okay, you usually go
Yes.
out and then I can rob you. And those things have actually,
And we have
happened.
seen that.
Exactly.
Yes.
So that's the negative side. But also, we all know that the platinum rule of social media, you have to network regardless of what platforms you have. If you're not engaging your following and your friends, then you're really wasting your time on that. But at the same time,
Well, what's happening, I see in social media, is what happens just with society, the gossip section. I mean, that's what soap operas are still, known for in terms of that. So now the social media is being used, what used to be just the social circles, in a way.
Well, I don't think the issue is social media. I think social media is a tool, just like money is a tool. And it's going to amplify the heart of the user. Does that make sense? So there's people that have used social media to raise funds for amazing organizations that have been blessings to people. And there are people that have used social media to attempt to destroy other people. And sometimes they destroy themselves as well. And so it's a very neutral tool. It's a matter of how you're going to use that tool. But also I would say the litmus test whenever you're trying to figure out what you should put on social media in terms of sensitive information, would you put it on a Jumbotron? Would you put this on a Jumbotron in the middle of a football game that everyone's watching? If you would not put it there, do not post it on social media, because you're open to the world. Whether you have a private profile or not, you're still potentially open to the world.
And
The things that you should, I shouldn't know what the address to your kid's school is. I should know what the address to your home is. Unless we're close friends and you've given that to me, I should know what path and what time you arrive at work, that you live alone, that you just bought a 20-inch television, you're going to be in Vegas this weekend, 50-inch, sorry, television, and you're going to be in Vegas this weekend. There's things like Crystal saying, that if you wouldn't put it in an advertisement in the Houston Chronicle, you probably don't want to place it online.
Very well said. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to come back with the experts in just a second. At this time, we're going to go to some youngsters that know how to celebrate their birthdays. We'll be right back.
Y el aplauso para Magnolia, que viva Magnolia. Muchas gracias.
I'm glad to be from Magnolia, and we wish all the rest of the ladies that had a birthday today, happy birthday to all of them. If you have stress or something, just come over here and you'll forget all about it.
Les doy gracias porque todos los que cooperaron y me pusieron el dólar. Que Dios los ayude y los bendiga. Y también te doy gracias por haberme dejado un día más de vida. Te lo pido en Cristo Jesús.
My name is Carmen Salazar. I've been 73 years.
Tengo mucho gusto en saludarlos y tengo 86 años.
Muchas gracias y qué bueno que vinieron. Gracias por haber venido. Alicia Valadez, 86 años.
¿Qué quiere que le diga? ¡Que cumplo años! ¿Ya? ¡Feliz cumpleaños para todos! ¡Happy birthday, everything!
That was a special dance there, El Indio and all those youngsters celebrating their birthdays. Just want to congratulate them there at the Magnolia Multi-Purpose Center and say thank you for inviting us to those very special celebrations. As I always mention, ladies and gentlemen, birthdays are very special because it gives us the opportunity to reflect on the beautiful memories we made, but it also gives us the opportunity to plan the beautiful memories we're about to make. So congratulations to all those youngsters, and let me introduce my very special guest again. Very honored to have Crystal Washington, social media expert and author. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
And we have brother Jesse Mohammed, blogger, social media strategist, and teacher.
Thank you.
Thank you. And Sandra Fernandez, Houston Library PIO, blogger, social media strategist, and also has sandrasays.com.
Thank you.
Thank you all very much for being here. Time flies. I mean, you know, y'all are on a roll and giving some great information. And I hope you, ladies and gentlemen at home, again, you may sit there and say, well, Victor, it doesn't apply to me. I don't use social media. I don't have those gadgets. You know, I still got the phone that you move the little circle around. But you know what? You can pass this on. Write the information down. It doesn't matter what age we are. We should always stay informed. An informed community is part of how we continue to progress in a positive direction, how we continue to be part of the improvement of the quality of life. So jot this information down so you can impress some of your friends and tell them you know the difference between Twitter and what was the other one?
Well, Tumblr, but there's
Tumblr.
many.
See,
There's many.
Tumblr
Yeah.
doesn't mean you got to roll on the floor and tumble over. See, you can impress them. So, you know, because anyway, that's what I'm getting from this. I'm learning a lot, and I'm asking a lot of questions because it's got to be made clear. But we're talking about from videos going viral to just the fact that kids need to understand, have a better understanding, because this is a very unique challenge. I mean, I thought a challenge when I was a youngster was TV, watching TV, seen people on the screen. And now you've got this media where they can actually talk and see each other.
Yes, sir.
Right?
Yes, sir.
What is it called? Is it Skype or is it Skype? Or
There's
Skype is
lots
one
of
of
There's many, but yes,
Yes,
Skype
Skype
is
is
one of
one
the
of-
one
yes,
of the
sir.
popular ones.
What's the difference? What do you mean? There's others?
Oh, there's many, yeah.
And where you can see each other.
Yeah, Google Hangouts, Skype. There's quite a few, yeah.
Wow. So those are the challenges that our youngsters also have. How do you teach them to deal with it in a positive way?
Well, absolutely. You know, back then, you know, you had 3 channels. When I was coming up, you may have had a good 6 or 7, and now they have 500. You know, you got a 3, 4 for every channel, whether it's ESPN or HBO. And so now they're being bombarded, not only just that, but now the video games. They're so real. You can see the sweat dropping off people's brow. And like this one game that just made $1 billion during the holiday season that came out, Grand Theft Auto 5, you're literally killing people, buying prostitutes. And we talked about this with the students.
So kids can play this game?
They play this game, and the thing is their parents are buying it for them. So not only is it just the children, but it starts off with this message has to be translated to the parents that they're allowing their children to sit in front of the TV. And so it's very important as parents that we're monitoring what our children are doing online, what they're doing on video games, and what they're talking about, because why? People say, well, I'm going to keep my baby away from all that. You're going to shelter them. Well, I'll give them this analogy. You know, like a spider, if you cut off the head of a spider, it dies off. But you take a starfish, if you cut off the arm of that starfish and throw it away, another starfish can grow on its own from the arm that you cut off. So social media, access to information, the music, the hip hop, all that, it's a starfish. You're not gonna stop your child from getting access to it somehow. So therefore, we have to engage in healthy conversation in our homes with our children, in the classroom, and let's stop fronting like our children don't have access to these things because they're engaging in it, because they're telling me as a speaker.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Or the fact that, oh, my child doesn't do that. They know their parameters versus you need to have those conversations anyway.
Right, exactly, exactly.
Let me get to this one caller. You've been patiently waiting. Go ahead and take that call. You're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Hello, Victor. How you doing?
Good evening, Linda. How you doing?
Okay.
So what do you? Go ahead.
What were you going to say, Victor?
No, I was going to say, so what do you think about the new social media? Do you get on Facebook and all that stuff?
Yes.
Do you like it?
I like it, kind of like it. Just only person I hang around is like from the people, like they're from the office, like you, Siri, and somebody I know only, and that's it.
Well, that's good. It's a new challenge. It's a new challenge.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad that you're enjoying it. Okay, what do you think about?
Oh, okay.
What do you think about the guest? What do you think about our guest?
Yeah, they're good. I've been listening to them talking, and I like the guests, the way they're talking about different things and stuff.
Well, thank you for tuning in, Linda. We'll talk to you later on, okay? Have a good evening.
Oh, okay.
Thank you, Linda. Good night. And again, you were going to make a point. I apologize.
Well, yeah, I was just going to add on wonderful points regarding the kids. Another thing is there's resources that you can use to help monitor what they're doing. Some people talk about, you educate your kids and then you trust them. I am sorry. I do not trust them. Only because their brains are not done forming yet. Like literally, they're not done forming. I think the average person until they're about 20, 21. So trusting a 16-year-old with a tool that gives them access to the entire world and can leave a footprint forever, in my opinion, is foolish. That's just me. And so you have tools like Net Nanny. You can actually go ahead and Google that, Net Nanny, that will allow you to not only restrict access, but then you can actually monitor conversations they're having via social media, and you're getting tracked back. So you can see what's happening. And they have a lot of tools within this one that can keep your teenagers from disabling it, because teenagers are smart. So they're always going to find ways to get around it. And so their people are smart because they're always finding ways to find how they're getting around it and improving it. So make sure that you're monitoring
You're absolutely correct.
what your kids are doing.
And I hope you jotted that down, ladies and gentlemen. Do we have another caller you want to go to? Okay. You're on the air. Go ahead, please. You're on the air. Go ahead, please. They hung up? You're on the air. Go ahead, please. You see, this is modern technology. I used to have the phone right here, and it worked real good when I pushed the button. It says, you're on the air. But if you call back, we'll try to get your call again. I apologize. You're watching live TV, and sometimes this happens. But it is an important message to make sure that you as a parent or grandparent, or just as a friend, a relative, make sure that you make that impression that just be polite with the youngsters. Let them know you got to do your duty. You got to do due diligence, whether it's a parent, a grandparent, that this healthy conversation has got to be part of your family structure, your social structure. These healthy conversations are very important. And I think later on in life, the youngsters will realize that. But meanwhile, we don't compromise it, because the youngster will pull a fast one on us.
That's right.
They are very smart, especially today's days, right?
Yes, absolutely. And be polite is a really good rule of thumb to use when you're doing your online interactions. It's very easy to forget that there are people behind all of these conversations that you're having. That there is, that there is Cheryl and Diana and Margaret, and it's not just all these anonymous accounts online, but there are people with personalities and with feelings. And if we just remember that that to have our Sunday manners on, that will make things a lot easier.
Definitely, because, there is some rules also that you can use certain language, right? On some of the media, or is anything goes?
Well, no, there's not a lot of censorship, but they do have certain rules. Like Facebook, Actually, no, they just removed their restrictions
Yeah.
on the kind of graphic content. I mean, you can't like post certain nude pictures and things, but you can.
It's a lot more lax than you'd think.
I mean, on Facebook, if it's political and you're against it, you can actually post a video of a beheading that's happened, and you're saying this is wrong. You can actually post it, and the video stays. So, again, talking about giving your kids access and just trusting them. They have access to everything in the world just about through social media. That's why I said I'm not a big fan of just be good and then just, let them sign up and go. You have to know where they're at.
Now, if you're talking about building communities, what will sometimes happen is if someone starts engaging in behavior that the rest of the community doesn't approve of, they will start to respond to that. But you can't always count on it.
Exactly. We're going to see if this caller is back. Oh, we got a new caller, but we'll go to the caller. Okay, you're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Hi, I have a question about how social media is affecting chances of getting jobs.
Okay, how social media is affecting the chances of getting a job, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we'll answer over the air. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
I'll let Crystal go first.
Oh, well, over 90% of Fortune 500 companies are leveraging social media to find future employees. I know personally corporations have brought me in as a consultant to show them how they can better leverage the tools to find their key people. So if you're not using social media, again, you're missing out on opportunities. However, we need to also understand that sometimes when we accept a job offer, there's a clause about social media use. Some of them, as soon as you sign it, you become a representative of the company online, and so you have to watch what you say. So it's a very sticky situation where it can not only present opportunities, but we can actually lose jobs, sometimes not necessarily posting something that's inappropriate, but that's not in alignment with the company's overall image if we've signed a document. Does that make sense?
Yes, very clear. You wanted to add to it?
Well, one of the things to note is it's reputation management. Crystal mentioned earlier about making sure that you are providing the best view of yourself. And the question sometimes comes, is it legal for people to discriminate against you because of something you've posted online? I don't know that. I'm not a lawyer. What I can say is why make yourself less competitive than the person standing next to you because you've posted things about, being drunk till 3 o'clock in the morning, or I called in sick to work again because I was out partying. As a potential employer, you're not going to look as attractive to me as the other person who applied for the same job, has the same credentials, and may not be posting the information about those activities.
And I had a personal experience with this, that I had a young brother who I was helping and training with, working together on a social media project, and he called me to tell me that he was going to have to take 30 days off from assisting me because he was going to have to deactivate his Facebook page. And I said, well, why? He said, well, I just applied for a job, because he already knew that his Facebook wall, he tends to spark up some very controversial topics, and he knew they were going to look up his name and get it. And then he called me back like 30 days later. He said, I'm back, Brother Jesse. I said, why? He said, I got the job.
So then he can get back on and they won't monitor it later, probably?
Well, it's not that, but it's just that he's much more mindful, much more mindful now what he posts and things like this. But I always tell people, too, that searching for a job and finding a job, that's great and that's wonderful as well. But we also need to think about what are the brand that we're putting out for the most important company, which is called Me Incorporated, you yourself. When you put these resumes out, you got an objective, you want to achieve this, you got goals in life. So when you're utilizing social media, what is Me Incorporated looking like on your brand?
Well, I hope to the caller you got 3 great responses, and they're all very important. So I hope that we've answered your question. You see how I include myself? We. That's
great job.
Me and what?
Me Incorporated. That's right.
Incorporated. Now, again, ladies and gentlemen, you're watching the experts here. This Crystal Washington, an author. Matter of fact, can you show us your book?
Oh, sure.
Maybe y'all can.
Sure.
Can y'all get a look at it? I don't know if my camera people can kind of zoom in. If not, y'all see it? Social Media, why?
Yeah, and it's free on Amazon today. Not any other day, but today.
Today.
For you.
Today. And also we have Sandra Fernandez, the Houston Library PIO, blogger, social media strategist with sandrasays.com. Thank you. And also Brother Jesse Muhammad, blogger, social media strategist, teacher, and usually your programs are geared toward kids. So the public schools call you or college campuses?
Yes, sir. It's that to the point I don't even really advertise myself as a speaker. It's all about referrals now, because I have learned that no matter if one student is in the audience, I always speak like it's 100 or 1,000 now. I do not rob anybody, and I have learned that when you give your best, people will talk about you and refer you. So now schools just call me, and I always enjoy it. I never turn down the offer.
Well, congratulations. You keep up the good work. I'm sure this, again, it's a challenge that society has that needs to be addressed, and you stepped up to the plate for that.
Absolutely, my
And,
honor.
Yeah. And also, you know, being a PIO for the library staying up in terms of the social media aspect.
Yes, it's very important for us to be able to communicate with as many people as possible. You know, we work with the library. The idea is to get as many people using our services or walking in our doors as we can. And digital is such a huge part of what we offer now. We have people who are teaching people how to use computers, how to use Facebook, how to build a website, and how to use these things responsibly and well, how to do job searches online. All of this is information. All of these are digital literacy tools that have to be taught to people who may not have grown up with access to the tools and the information.
And something else, I guess, you know, I had a list of questions I was going to ask y'all, but for example, if someone wanted to start a blog, what are some of the best blogging sites?
You know what? I'm not going to be the best person for that, only because I don't believe in using like Blogger. I believe in people setting up their own blog within there. Well, a blog is, I know, right?
I'm asking a question.
That's a good question.
Know what a blog is.
So a blog is basically a site where you can contribute your ideas, your thoughts. Really, the whole goal of a blog is to add value to people. That can be through laughter, that can be through information. It could be a team of people, it can be an individual person. Some people kind of use it as a diary for their friends, but for most of the people listening, if you're going to start a blog, it's to add value and get a following.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What is what they call, what is the difference between sharing a like on Facebook? And sharing and a like.
Well, liking something basically is me clicking it and telling the people who posted that in fact I read it and I want to let them know that I liked it, or thank you for sharing this, or it doesn't always mean that you liked it. Sometimes it's just my only way of providing feedback without providing a comment. Sharing something literally means me taking something that either someone else posted or something new that I'm posting and putting that up so that everyone or a group of the people who follow me or who like me or with whom I'm connected will see that the next time they interact with me.
Okay. And I got a caller that's been waiting. We want to go to the caller. Okay. You're on the air. Go ahead, please. You're on the air.
How you
go
doing?
Ahead. Real good. Good evening.
Good evening.
You're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, I'm calling in. I'm friends with James. Is James on the air as well?
Okay.
I don't think so.
I'm sorry?
He asked if James is on the air as well.
No. What was your question? I think they hung up.
Okay.
Well, we missed the question. He said, is James on the air?
Yeah.
Who's James?
We don't know, but you know what? I bet if you go on social media, you can find some new James. There's millions of James on social media. You go now.
Well,
find them.
Well, that's a good question. You know, talking about if someone just starting out on social media and has never been on any of the social media sites, which would y'all suggest to start on?
Oh, wow.
I would say it's important to understand the culture of each social network. Then you can decide which one's best for you. So I can do a very quick breakdown. LinkedIn is the largest business social network. So if you want to get on social network to conduct business, that's probably the best one. Facebook, the culture of Facebook is community and friendship. So if you're looking to build a community, maybe you want to start a group around support for a certain type of disease or something, or around just rally people around a cause. Facebook's going to be your best option. And then Twitter, the last one I'll mention, in terms of the top 3 social networks, that's all about real-time information sharing. And so like if you think about like the police department or things like that where you're putting out information that needs to go out quickly and be disseminated quickly, that's Twitter. Mm-hmm. So if you understand the culture of the social networks and what you want to do, then you choose the one that works best for you.
Good point. And so I hope that answers also some of y'all's questions out there. But what does anybody know what does search engine optimization mean?
Oh, wow. Search engine optimization has to do with websites. And at this point, it's almost a cliche, but it's what you call it when it's how you work with your website to make sure that search engines find it either directly for the target keywords or for the topics you're hoping people are going to find you for. So if I have a flower shop in Houston in the Heights and I want people to find my website every time they're looking for a flower shop in the Houston Heights, search engine optimization is a strategy through which I make that happen.
Wow.
And there's an entire industry. There are people that this is all they do.
It's huge.
Yes.
Wow.
And a little over my head.
This one's a little bit, I think, easy because I didn't even understand it. It says, if somebody tags you in a post and you do not want to be tagged, what can you do? Don't accept it.
Well, you can untag, right?
Well, yes, you can untag in most social networks. Yes, and if it's something that's inappropriate, you can even go further to report them. If someone's tagging you in something that's either inappropriate, or you might have friends that have flyers and they just keep tagging you as if.
Well, let me ask, what is a tag? I guess maybe I should be clear. What is a tag?
So if you imagine on social media, if someone posts a picture and they say Crystal's in it, they might tag it and have Crystal, and they might tag it and have Sandra. So they say that we're a part of it. But if we're not actually in that picture, then we don't deserve the tag. And when you tag someone, in most cases, now that image is going to appear on their wall for all their friends as well. So many people abuse that privilege.
Right, and what I started doing, Mr. Trevino, is that I had to be honest because I got tired of being asked, do I want to build some straw houses with Farmville? I got tired of being tagged with Air Jordan ads that ain't got nothing to do with Nike. So I set my settings up that I had to approve the tags. And when I take the time and I go through, I know everybody don't like to go through that, but I actually like to look and see what have you tagged in it because, again, me Incorporated, there's a certain brand on my wall. When I go to Crystal's page or Sandra's page, I know that they're representing and what their brand is because their wall represents that, because some people will just tag you in anything. And so you can actually set your settings on Facebook where you get to approve everything that posts to your wall that people tag you in. But it takes time. But many people, when they get on social media, they don't take the time to want to read. You know, it's kind of like how we do. We get that new device at home. Some of us don't believe in reading the manual, the procedure book, the VCR. We just, you know, the DVD. We just go straight into it. But with social media, you really want to look at the private settings, the privacies, and things like that, so you can really know how you can protect yourself from getting things bad on your page.
I told my wife that, you know, as I'm getting up there, you know, this year, turned 62, and I qualify for Social Security. I said, I want to get smarter. Okay, so she went and bought me a smart TV, and I'm trying to figure it out. I learned how to turn because there's two changers. No, and I know it sounds silly, but those TVs are very complicated.
No, I think we're laughing because we identify, not because
I relate
it's
to
silly.
you.
No,
well,
my
no, I mean,
husband's TV, there's just so much going on. Like, I've tried to turn it on when he's not home,
I can't believe
and I just left out in frustration.
They make a TV and they call it Smart TV. Yeah. This is
my niece wrote out a diagram for my mother and put it on the refrigerator with instructions on how to get to on demand for my toddler nephew. Like, this is how you get to on demand for, you know, my cousin's videos.
You know, and it's gotten ridiculous when you have to have 3 remotes just to get to a sports game. You know, I myself, I'm like, sometimes you wish for that old school element where you had that one remote that connects to everything. Now you got to do everything with that own remote.
Let me
sometimes.
tell you what I remember. It's the switch.
Now you talking about the plies and the foil paper.
Yes, we use that on the antenna. We put the foil paper on top. I don't know why it worked.
Now I will say
all these.
There's smartphones now. Like my phone, I actually have a Samsung where now I can control anybody's TV from my phone.
Exactly.
So now when people can't figure out how to work their own phone, now that I have this phone I got about a month ago, I can sit there and now I can figure it out on my own phone.
Oh,
so
my goodness.
yeah.
Let's get this caller been patiently waiting. Go ahead. You're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Yes, sir. I just called about the Pinky Poncho.
The poncho?
Yes, sir. The Pinky Poncho.
Yeah, we gave you the information. We'll call back. We'll answer it again for you, okay?
Okay.
All right, thank you. Thank you. Then they're enjoying y'all's comments.
I guess
Yes, it's-
so.
Yeah, but we did talk about the poncho and how, what was it, the sticky poncho?
Pinky poncho? Picky poncho?
Yeah, I think it's picky poncho.
Yes.
Well, either or pink, because pink is in
No.
nowadays. It wasn't
I think it was picky poncho.
And what's picky about it?
Hopefully he'll get his marketing down and we'll see him on social
Yeah.
media and we can answer that.
And he can, and make sure you give credit to my experts here, because they gave you all that information.
Yeah, and one thing
go
I
ahead.
know that made me think about dealing with marketing, which I know Crystal can attest to this, she talks about it in her book, is that even when you get on social media, you never cannot X out the beauty of the human contact and the face-to-face meetings. So you still, as we say, you have to do your offline grind, meaning that it should marry both. So the same way you're gonna market it online, you still need to go to those networking events and put that sticker on your jacket that's gonna fall off with your name in the Sharpie, because you still don't wanna get away from human contact and human touch, which is sometimes can be the detriment that we're so involved in social media that we utilize and we misutilize rather, and we put to the side the element of meeting and coming together face to face. So that's very important.
Well, before I have final comments for you, I just want to, express on a somber note to all of you at home our condolence to the Barrientos family, and also a hero around the world, to the Mandela family.
Yes, sir.
And everything that Mandela stood for, and just passed on to all of us to pass it on, because the examples that he lived by, and the heavy price that he paid, but still to come out after 27 years such a better person, not bitter, but better. And so we owe a lot of gratitude. So again, to the Barrientos family, friends of our family that just lost their mom, our condolence. And a special happy birthday to Our Lady of Guadalupe. For those of us that are Catholics, December the 12th is also a special religious celebration when back in the 1500s, the story goes that an angel appeared to Juan Diego, just a hard-working peasant, poor guy, and the angel said, "You're going to build my church here." So that is why they celebrate December the 12th, Our Lady of Guadalupe, as Catholics. So again, to you at home, just wanted to share that with you. But we got a couple of minutes. I just want some final comments from y'all. Sandra?
Well, what I wanted to reiterate was, if you are using social media for business purposes, either because you have a small business or you're a business owner or you're trying to advance your career, you need to go in with an objective in mind, with goals, or you're not going to achieve anything. The other thing to remember is you're going to have to build a community. You're going to have to build a network. There is no overnight success when it comes to this kind of thing. It's because what you're trying to do is you're trying to build relationships online, and that doesn't happen in one day.
Okay. Also, Crystal?
I would just say, to piggyback on what Sandra said, which was fabulous, is make sure that when you go into social media, you're going to make some mistakes. You're going to make some mistakes. You're not going to know how everything works, but be open to researching. Be open to observing what other people are doing in this space, and just give yourself space to learn. A lot of people feel like they have to understand this technology immediately. Just go in there, look around a little bit, and you'll get far.
And I'll just close by just saying, don't be afraid to embrace something new. I have a saying that I tell some the oldest I speak to, is say most people are more comfortable with old problems than they are with new solutions, and social media provides some new solutions. So I say embrace it and utilize it to the best.
Well said. And to you at home again, we thank you very much for tuning in. You tuned in to the Victor Trevino Live. This is our 8th year that we've had this show, and we appreciate your support. Some of your calls, some of your comments. We look forward to continuing to, bring you programs that, again, the whole idea is how we continue to pass on, those good ideas, become informed, stay informed, no matter where we live, what our age is. I think it's very important to continue to improve the quality of life and celebrate all the blessings that we have. So for that, I say thank you, and we look forward to seeing you again later on.